of a continuation video for my... And as in everything in life, there is going to be pros and cons for everything, pretty much. And although I really do love living in Finland, of course there are going to be some things that I don't like as much. So I thought this video would be the cons about living in Finland. There's not actually that many points that I dislike about Finland, so I did have to think a little bit to try and come up with some things that I don't really like. But yeah, now I just want to say a little thing in the beginning of this video, because I have had quite intensive comment wars in some of my previous videos, so I thought I would just emphasize that these are my personal opinions, and of course they are gonna vary depending on the person, depending on where exactly in Finland you live, on your own experiences living here, and these are what I have found to not be as pleasant, but maybe these are the exact points that you enjoy. So yeah, without me blabbering on forever, let's head into the video. So to start off, this is kind of like the counterpoint that I made in my things I like about living in Finland video. Whereas I love the summers here, the winters, not so much. It does get pretty cold, even in the south. And the thing that especially gets on my nerves is the constant darkness. Now, Finland is one of the most northern countries in the world, which means that our sunset and sunrise times are quite drastic throughout the years. So in the winter, the sun does not stay up in the sky hardly at all. Now, being in the south, it's not as dramatic as it is in the north, but even down here in the south, the sun is not up for very many hours during the daytime, so by the time you go to school and you get out of school, you don't see the sun at all, and you're basically living in darkness the whole time, and it does get quite depressing. And then another thing I've noticed is that, at least in the area where I live, there are not like any garages or car parks that are indoors, so you have to leave your cars outside, and then it's quite a pain in the butt to every single morning have to wake up, scrape the car, and put the heat on the car, to make sure it warms up in time, as I'm sure everyone who lives in anywhere where it snows a lot would know. I guess the second point, you could kind of classify it under availability, if that makes sense, as in not a lot of products are, or like international products aren't so readily, is that a word? Available in Finland to get, which means that oftentimes if you want something, you're gonna have to order it online. If you have something like specific in mind, whether it be clothing, makeup, books, even like, some food items they don't sell here. So you're gonna have to, order them online. And the shipping prices are quite outrageous, and sometimes it is even a pain to find, good web stores that even deliver to Finland. Like for the shipping, when I was buying my books for my IB program, they didn't really have them in Finland, so I had to order them through Amazon, and sometimes the shipping is even more expensive than the product itself, which is always kind of annoying. When you're buying it, you're like, oh, if I only lived somewhere else. But it is what it is. And it leads to another point that a lot of people do consider Finland to be quite expensive to what they're used to. I mean, the taxes are quite high here for everyone. I know, having been in the US a lot, like regular items in the store tend to cost a lot more here. For example, a thing of mascara. In Finland, the kind that I use, it costs about 15 euros for one thing of mascara. And in the States, I got that same exact mascara. I got 2 of them for $7. And I guess this is a little bit on the same note, but like, something that I love is music and going to concerts. That is something I love doing. But the problem with Finland is that not a lot of artists actually end up coming to Finland, and if they do, they go most of the time to Helsinki, which for me isn't a problem, but I know people that live in the north, it kind of sucks. I mean, it's 100% understandable that if you were to come to Finland, you'd go to the capital, where you'd actually have enough people to attend your concert, but then if you're living in the north, it's like quite expensive and takes a long time to travel all the way down. But then the people that I listen to, I've been very lucky with Adam Lambert, may I just say. Like, that shocked me how many times he's actually come to Finland. But overall, there hasn't been that many artists that I listen to that have actually ended up in Finland, and a lot of times people end up going to either Tallinn or Stockholm to see their favorite artists. Like, I just think last October was it, I went to Stockholm to see Ed Sheeran because he conveniently skipped right over Helsinki, but you know, you can't do that all the time because if going to a different country to see a concert does get quite expensive. Alright, and the last point, I hope people aren't too sensitive about it, but it is something that I personally have witnessed here, is that there tends to be a lot of alcoholism, and it's not only during the big holidays. For example, Juhannus, which is midsummer, it's coming up in a few weeks, I guess, and that's a huge drinking holiday here, I would say. And I mean, every year there is a few people who decide it's a great idea to go swimming or boating when they're so drunk that they can barely walk and end up drowning. At least like where I went to school, there was some areas along the way that, you know, even during the mornings or the afternoons when you're coming and going from school, you would see like these drunk people on the bus stops or on the streets, and it's kind of icky in a way, because then you have like these drunk people that are, you know, doing public urination or like spitting on the streets, which, mind you, not only drunk people do, and I find that quite, yeah. And then these people decide to sometimes come onto the bus, and then it's like just that one person who smells extremely strongly of alcohol, and then it just fills up the whole bus with that smell. And there's actually this one specific bus that I avoided at all costs because it just smelled like alcohol in there, and it kind of went through an area that wasn't the best, and there were on occasion some, I wouldn't say drunk, but people who had drank heavily that would tend to come on the bus, and I don't know, it was just, maybe this is just my experience, but I feel like there is a pretty strong drinking culture here. But yeah, let me know what your thoughts are on that issue. And yeah, so I guess that pretty much sums up the main points that I could think of. I honestly couldn't think of that many because I do enjoy living here, and yeah, it's been really pleasant. So I guess that just about concludes this video. So till next time.